Some of the different methods that we have seen people do, there's the traditional one on the right-hand side, your parts, pieces, OPEX, CAPEX, you buy it, you own it, you maintain it, we'll help you install it, we'll sell you a cabinet or whatever the case is, and we'll make those things happen. The service is on the other side is more of a service level agreement, so SLA. So on the SLAs, you can have things, put it into an OPEX, have things tied to RPO, RTO times, have people help you do the recovery if those are the services that you're looking for. And you eliminate some of the training curve. Now, we have set up people where we get these systems running. We call them build, operate, transfer. If they want, if people need help building it, operating it, and at some time we transfer the ownership back over to you, we could be doing those services too with you. Next, please. Next, please. A case study here, as we go into the case study, this was a hospital, obviously from a HIPAA requirement, has had DR requirements. Go to the next page, please, sir. Now, has had DR requirements, had a traditional DR recovery plan. They went back to a SunGuard location, brought their tapes, had the hardware as like available type of like services there, and did that whole process in 72 hours or so. They needed to get away from that. They also had a requirement to look at and improve their RTO and their RPO time. 72 hours tapes, that wasn't going to cut it anymore. And they had their auditors who finally came down and said, listen, before you deploy EHR, you've got to improve your DR capabilities. You've got to make this happen. You guys have been talking about it for a couple of years. It's got to happen now. Next, please, now. And so requirements were, I needed also, they liked the idea of high-speed Metro Ethernet because they have 10 gigs and 10 gigs type of circuits. So mitigating their risk within something that a bandwidth requirements without costing too much money. And this is about mitigating risk. So they did that. They needed to have a site that was HIPAA compliant and also SAS 70 Type 2. Now all of ours are going to SSAE 16, but at the time it was a SAS 70. They also needed help from a technical and from a project management perspective to help them get this running. Their auditors put the gun to their head on some very critical dates. They had to get it going. Next, please. So as we kind of went through their requirements, we went in, understand what their business impact was, looked at their risk, talked about recovery strategies, your site, one of our sites, how's it going to happen, backup, replication, kind of build some strategies, strategies or, like around that, business continuity plans, who do I have to worry about here, users or just IT, DR or BCP. We also had to go in and talk about that management thought, what happens that Saturday at midnight, who's going to help with it, and then we came up with disaster recovery plans. We have multiple DR plans. It wasn't just if there was a crater hitting their current data center. It was more than that. Please, thanks. So out of that, we came up with a recovery plan. Next, please, Bob. As we did the recovery plan, these are the things that were a before and after shot with it. So BIA, once again, it was limited. We got very detailed around EHR. RTO times were out there. We had to shrink those down to hours, if not minutes now. RPO time the same way. Those are now within seconds. They went from a cold site to a hot site. They had a brief plan, very fragmented, but a very traditional plan. We went to specific actions because to get up within seconds or within minutes or within hours, I've got to have a good, very good 2-minute drill plan. Work areas, they went in and now they have dedicated work areas for people to come over to help bring up the systems. We went into their voice, helped on their voice. Voice is one of those things that's always left off the DR plan a lot of times, and at times, sometimes the most difficult. And WAN connectivity. They are connected to their MPLS now. They've got full gig connections between their data centers and the colo sites, and they've got internet access all the time. Next, please, now. So data centers here, I'll pass this back over to Nav, and he'll tell you a little bit about their data centers, their recovery data centers.